Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name's Amo and I'm joined by my good friend Fatima Farah.
Hello.
And today we are going to be discussing the MCU in terms of diversity, and now that Endgame's finished, what is the future looking like for diversity within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we may even turn this into a sort of predictions video as well. So we're going to see how it goes. So we know that Kevin Feige and the Rousseau Brothers have stated that there is going to be a big diversity plan for the next phase of the MCU, but we're going to talk about what's going on right now and then see where we'd like it to go in the future.
Yeah, I'd like this to be a friendly spoiler warning as well. If you haven't seen any of the films recently, don't watch this video. You will get everything spoiled.
That is a very good point. Thanks,
Fats. Because I was thinking, wait, what if we talk about Endgame? I haven't seen Endgame. And then,
in fairness though, it's been what, 3 weeks now. People should have seen Endgame, but we won't spoil.
They should have seen the memes at least.
Yeah.
All the Instagram posts, all the sad stuff.
All the happy stuff.
Yeah.
All the great stuff. Anyway, so Fats, what do you think, how do you think the MCU is doing currently in terms of its diversity as it stands?
They're getting there.
I agree.
It's kind of like, you know that meme, you tried. They're getting there slowly. Like to begin with, it was very white. There was no one else. They had the token woman who was Scarlett Johansson, who is also black, an ethnic minority, a trans person, a gay person. If anyone doesn't get that reference.
They didn't cover that.
But they had her, and it was like, okay, cool, you understand. And then they sort of got there with, they have Rhodes as the token black guy who does exist just to be the sidekick, which isn't refreshing. But then with the rise of Black Panther, it's like, oh, okay, you get that. We actually want black people who are dark-skinned. And I'm kind of hoping that they actually move on to show like South Asians, because with the whole Captain Marvel plot, you can introduce Kamala Khan really easily. With Spider-Man, you can introduce Miles Morales.
You're spoiling my script.
I don't know what his script is. His script looks awful. It's horrible handwriting, but...
Doctor's handwriting. So...
yeah, personally, they're getting there, but they can do a lot more work, and I hope they do.
I totally agree. What I've got here is this sort of... I've, in my head, composed a list of each ethnic minority and the characters that I think fall within their category. So, currently, as it stands, in terms of black characters, we have Black Panther and the entire cast.
Yeah.
There's... I'll put Zoe Saldana as Gamora, in brackets green, so I don't know if that counts.
Green people matter too. Actually, I had a conversation at work because I was cussing out the Hulk, and then I was also like, I like Thanos, but I was taking the piss out of him, and everyone was like, wait, it's 2019, don't discriminate against green people and purple people.
Yeah, purple people matter too.
Yeah, Zoe Saldana does count, but she is green, so she's not really.
Yeah, doesn't count.
Yeah.
Next is Silver Falcon, so we've got that. So we've got Nick Fury.
Oh, yes.
We've got Rhodes, who you've talked about a little bit, which we'll go into a bit shortly. Heimdall as well, so Heimdall is Idris Elba in Thor as, Heimdall.
He just doesn't do a lot though. Okay.
He doesn't, and everyone said like when Black Panther was coming out, like did they cast Idris Elba too early?
Yeah.
But I disagree, I think he was fine as Heimdall.
Oh, he would have been better as any other character. Idris is great.
True, but he got his moments throughout the series, I think, especially in Thor Ragnarok. I think he had his good moments there. So there was, I think, there was that guy, what's his name, in Thor: The Dark World, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy as well, who meets Peter Quill in the cave.
I don't know.
Cormac or something. Remember him?
Thor 1 and 2 didn't happen to me. I refuse to rewatch them.
There's that guy, and there's also, of course, Baron Mordo in Doctor Strange as well.
I think you've missed out Valkyrie.
Ooh, yeah, I missed that Valkyrie. Thank you, yeah.
But yeah, you've pretty much got them down.
Cool.
I've got 10 whole people of colour.
It's good. Latino, I've got 1, which is Michael Pena. Yeah. And I can't think of anyone else in terms of Latino heritage who is in the MCU as it stands.
Spider-Man's friend.
Is he Latino?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Where is he from?
I don't know.
He's brown.
He's definitely not white.
He's definitely
He's Southern.
Who else? I'm trying to...
Shall I move on?
Yes, yeah, go on.
East Asians, we've got Mantis. We have Hogan, who is one of the warriors in the Thor films. We have Helen Cho in Age of Ultron, who I think played quite a big role.
Yeah, she was really cool.
Yeah.
She was sick.
Seminal role. And then also Wong in Doctor Strange, so he was great. Good old BD Wong.
Yeah.
And that's it on that front. And then South Asian, so this is the one that's personally hard-hitting for me. So we've got the Head of the Ten Rings in Iron Man 1. We have Jensen in Iron Man 1. And we have Flash Thompson in the Spider-Man series. So in essence, the South Asians have a terrorist, a guy who's helping a terrorist, and a bully.
Yeah.
So Marvel, there is definitely room for improvement here, is all I'm saying.
I'm sensing a lot of stereotypes.
Let's go through these characters as it stands. So in terms of the black characters, are there any here that you feel, Fats, that don't do, I don't say ethnicities justice, but you think that aren't portrayed in the right manner?
Well, I feel like most of them except the Black Panther cast, because when it comes to representation, I'm never really like, oh, I don't want to see us as villains, or I don't want to see us. I just want to see well-rounded characters, whether you're good, whether you're bad. I don't want you to just exist to be like a sidekick or a best friend. That's my issue with Rhodes mainly, because he's just the sidekick. He's just there just to be all like, oh, Tony.
The token.
He's a token in every way. Even when he survived at the end of Infinity War, at first I was like, where are all the black people? And I was like, oh wait, they kept him alive. Like, what the hell? I was really miffed. I was so annoyed. I was just like, what on earth? Of all the black people to keep alive.
That guy.
That guy.
Okoye survived though, so...
Okoye also barely did anything in Endgame.
Yeah, you're right.
Okoye's
But
really
Infinity
cool.
War, she had her moments for sure.
She did. She's sick. I do like her.
She's one of my favourites in the Black Panther cast, to be fair. Shuri is first, then Okoye.
Yeah.
Shuri's just my favourite character now in the entire MCU.
Shuri is just everything that everyone's ever wanted.
I think she'll have a big role in the next phase. A huge role,
I
actually.
think she will too. It's really good that like they're actually trying. They're actually trying to actually develop like even the females as well, because we've always had an issue with not showing black women and then not having actual representation of black women. But yeah, I think Black Panther cast and maybe Falcon, but even then Falcon's a sidekick as well. And
Compared to Rhodes though, isn't Falcon a better sort of...
Okay. He has way more personality. I instantly liked him. Like when he came on screen and I was like, it's not just because he's pretty as well. He's actually a really good, like, well-developed character, whereas Rhodes is just
there for the sake of being there.
America.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. No,
But,
I think Falcon's storyline arc has been very, very good up until this point, and you know, as we know, spoilers, Captain America. So that's a big step.
That is. I didn't realise people didn't like that when I was watching it. Yeah, I heard some comments were like, oh, it should have been Bucky, and I was like, yeah, but...
Bucky wants to be different, though. He doesn't want to follow in Steve's footsteps. He just wants to get away from that, I think, compared to, I think, Anthony Mackie's character as Falcon, who I think is the better... It's a better evolution of his character, and I think the way his arc's gone, I think he's in a position where it makes more sense, if that...
Yeah, I 100% agree, because I think with the way they've developed each story, it would have been cruel for Steve to give it to Bucky. Bucky was trying to just... Because he's dealing with his PTSD, he's dealing with
He's a tortured soul, Bucky.
He is,
so.
And, you know, Falcon isn't.
Well, it's boiled down to that, isn't it? Because got the mental state of Bucky is not worthy enough to be Captain America right now.
Yeah.
He's better, from what we can see in Endgame, but we don't know how much better he actually is, whereas Falcon is ready to go with the mantle.
Yeah, and now he flies with a shield. Like, what can you want? I really like that, because I was watching it and I was like, oh my god. Because, you know, in the comics it is Bucky.
Yeah.
There's that moment and it was really powerful.
They've both been Captain America at some point though, but I want to see that little mini Falcon thing that he has. Like carry the shield or like do some weird, like, it can become like a Beyblade launcher. So the Falcon-y little bit, Beyblade launches the shield into people's faces, and that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson changed the race of the character, because in the comics they adapted it to his look.
That's very
so
true.
That was a big one.
He's really cool. Like he's I wouldn't ever call him like a sidekick. He's a character in his rights. Like he has his role.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson has too much personality to ever be a sidekick in anything that he does.
Yeah, honestly, literally, he just has so much presence. Like even in the Spider-Man new trailer, like those moments with him and Spider-Man. We haven't even seen the film yet, and I'm just like,
it's going to be great. Heimdall, you said that, you know, maybe the wrong casting for Idris Elba, but I thought it was fine. And then, I missed that one guy, Dave in Ant-Man, as T.I.
Shit, yeah.
Which he's like, as like the Black American casting goes, that's the most Black American I think we've seen in the films, in sort of that aspect of things.
That's true. And
then Baron Mordo's the complete opposite of that, who is a Shakespearean actor and portraying a black guy in that sense. So yeah. Well, I think they've covered good bases in terms of black characters at the moment. Could do better, obviously.
Definitely.
But I think that compared to the other ethnicities, that is a solid outing.
Yeah, compared to all of Asia and Latina, they're
I just want to see me, man.
Oh, man.
So on to East Asian. So Mantis, I think, is absolutely fine. Hogan was great. Didn't have much to say, but we kind of got his shtick. Who else? Helen Cho, I think, has been the best East Asian character so far. She's had the most sort of... I think even the Mantis has had more screen time. I think Helen Cho has had more substance in her role.
Yeah, you'd remember her.
Had more impact, had way more impact. And BD Wong is a close second place to that, where he's... Yeah, I don't think like his ethnicity is not sort of shown at all, really. Just he's another wizard, to put it bluntly. So it's just... But his personality really comes through in terms of... I like the fact that they're giving him a lot of popular culture reference jokes. So yeah,
He gets to
that
be
was good.
funny. He gets to be good. But
So yeah, one gets to be really funny in the comedic effect.
yeah, but wasn't it? Okay, I'm gonna be really a bad nerd and not remember anyone's names. But you know, in Doctor Strange, Tilda Swinton's character,
The Ancient One.
the ancient one, was supposed to be East Asian. There was a
Yeah.
massive controversy because they race swapped it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's probably one of the most important characters in
For East Asians.
Yeah, because that was a really bad move on Marvel's part. I feel like East Asian representation is weak anyway, but like if they had just made the Ancient One a really important, powerful character, East Asian, that would have been.
It makes no sense why they did that, because if we're going to tally up the races, the Asians are definitely, you know, on the lower side of the score, and that'd be a really great way to, not even the odds, but there's one on the East Asian tally, so I don't know why they didn't do that. It was a very odd choice, but
Yeah, it was just a
we're here now.
Yeah.
So
They're trying. They know what they did wrong. Let's see if they actually do better.
yeah, and then like I said, South Asians,
Oh my god.
terrorist guy helping terrorist bully, so they need to really improve on that
It's
front,
true.
I feel. And then Latino, just Michael Pena, I can think of off the top of my head, but he made such an impact in Ant-Man films that I think just having one good Latino character trumps having the stereotypical, you know, not positive.
Yalla, terrorist. That's all I remember about Iron Man.
Pretty much, pretty goddamn much.
Yalla, let's kill Tony Stark.
So, segue from terrorism onto where we should go in the future.
Oh.
So where are the opportunities? So let's go again. Let's go Black, East Asian, South Asian,
Okay.
Latino. X-Men. So now that Disney have acquired the Fox universe of characters, X-Men is just a really good opportunity to just sort of diversify on a whole new level.
They need to do everything with X-Men as well, because like X-Men was literally created as a metaphor for racism, for LGBT issues, for all the issues.
You did a dissertation on this.
Oh yes, I did. So I was someone.
Yes, I did.
Honestly, it's like my favorite thing that I've ever done ever. Like even my dissertation supervisor was like, "Thank you for doing this." So if anyone doesn't know, I did politics and sociology, and usually people do very serious topics for their dissertation. So I got the choice to pick between both subjects, like which one I wanted to do. I picked politics because it's easier to write the essays and get more marks.
Solid
Yeah.
reasoning.
And comic books are very political, and I wanted to talk about the political impacts and the social impacts. So I got to write about like how Captain America was basically made as propaganda against the Nazis by being their Aryan warrior prince, but by punching Adolf Hitler. Then I also got to talk about X-Men being a metaphor for racism, and through the research I found out that it was also used as a metaphor for LGBT. So essentially X-Men exists to be a metaphor for the is it race? Discrimination of each time, and it can keep going, which is why the movies are annoying.
And it's why it'd be the perfect franchise option to diversify the Marvel Universe, because there's such a vast amount of characters to choose from. So X-Men, so you got Storm, Bishop as sort of the flagship black characters for me, from based on what I've been watching for years and reading for years in the comics and the X-Men animated series. I think it's time for Blade to come back. I'm ready. I'm ready for someone to take the reins of good old Wesley and bring some vampires into the market. And because I've got the Morbius stuff coming out,
Yeah.
perfect timing. Perfect goddamn timing.
I'd like for them to remake it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just give us a new actor, give us someone with
Okay,
less
yeah,
issues.
remake it
Remake
completely.
the whole thing.
But the time is right, because if
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, what's his name? Jared Leto, he's playing Morbius. I think this is an easy introduction. Let's just get Blade back in, because I love that lore, man. And then Miles Morales. But I think, from a narrative point of view, Fats, I think I'm very much enjoying Tom Holland at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm okay to hold fire, because we've had obviously the animated film come out this year, last year.
It was December.
December,
It was a
bloody
good
hell.
month.
Right. So that was a while ago, but still
Yeah.
recent enough. I've had a good fix of Miles Morales in the what I think is a better film than a Pixar film in Into the Multiverse.
Yeah.
So I can hold off a little bit on Miles.
So one thing I'd like for Disney to do is, not for the next film, but for the film after, to introduce Miles Morales in the actual universe. Show that he is like a black, and he's half Latino, right?
Yes.
Teen, because he's like a mixed race.
Two birds, one stone, Marvel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, show us an actual mixed race representation that is honest, but also he's a genius. He defies like stereotypes of both his races, and he is a little nerd. And I'd like to see like Peter Parker take the realms of being someone who's like, hey, it's my little child.
Do you know who's also a black nerd? Genius. But who's really obscure. Rocket Racer. Have you heard of Rocket Racer?
No, I haven't.
Right, he was in the Spider-Man animated series, like back in the old 90s
Wait.
cartoon.
I think I know who you're talking
Yeah?
about. I got the
And
image in my head.
Peter Parker's a teacher at this point, I think. He's like,
Oh.
he's taking the student under his wing.
Yes.
He's like putting all this like technology together. He creates these rocket boots that make him like fly across the buildings and scale buildings. I think he uses it for a bit of crime at the start, but you don't have to do that in this. We can make him a hero from the get-go. It would be great.
Yeah,
Rocket Racer.
Because like
Underused, obscure. Let's do it.
Yeah, Peter Parker just ended up being a mentor for many people. Didn't
Exactly.
He was like, I've been through a lot, kids. I'm gonna help you.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't fight the sinister six on my own. So yeah, it'd just be really
Give me
nice.
6 younglings.
Yeah, and there's a way
Don't
to.
know why I went Palpatine then.
I went Sensei.
I can kill the younglings, execute Order 66.
There's so much opportunity, like just canon characters, but also let's race swap some other characters. If you're gonna race swap the
Yeah.
ancient one, let's race swap other characters,
Hold
please.
up, that's coming up to in my script.
Sorry.
Thanks, fans.
Oh
Right,
God.
East Asians.
Okay.
So, again, X-Men first, I think because that's the broad one. We've already had Yukio, we've had Lady Deathstrike,
Yeah.
we've had Blink as well in the Days of Future Past, I believe, yes?
Yes, we
as
did.
well. So, there's been a good amount of diversity in the Fox universe already. We could also have Jubilee,
Mm-hmm.
a more East Asian Psylocke. Boys, what's her name, the actress who plays Psylocke? Is she actually Asian?
I have no idea, you know.
Anyway, Sunfire is a good one as well, but Jubilee's the big one I think they should really go
Jubilee's the
for.
massive one.
But not like shitty Jubilee in the old X-Men cartoon where she's like just doing sparkles. I want the badass, I could destroy you with my sparkles Jubilee from like
Yeah.
a bit later on in the comics. That's the way to
And
go. I
also
think.
give her an actual character arc, because I think one of the things Fox movie did really weirdly is Wolverine is an important character, but he's not as important as they made him. But also he's kind of like a father figure to Jubilee, not Rogue, Jubilee. So let's make that a relationship that actually grows in the movies. Or maybe scrap Wolverine in general, just make Jubilee fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'd like an actual
Cyclops needs to be centre stage.
Cyclops does. What's
Yeah.
going on with?
Go
Because
on,
he's
go on.
interesting.
He's really interesting, like that dynamic they did not, exploit with, because they did a little bit with the Jean Grey Wolverine stuff from the comics, they did a little bit, but Cyclops needs to be more of a badass and more of a leader than what he was in the original films.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they do it right this time.
I hope they do, because they're kind of doing him wrong, because they're kind of making him like, you know how Captain America is a character that exists to be a leader of people, so he's always been more interesting when everyone's around him, but
Yes.
Captain America on his own, first Avenger happened, it was awful. Like,
Scott Summers has got backstory, man.
yeah, but Scott Summers is a well-developed character who can thrive as a lead,
So
whereas Captain America can't.
let's do it.
So let's
anyway,
do that.
enough about white people.
Yeah,
back onto
let's
East
go back to
back onto
people
East
of
Asia.
colour.
The next big one for me, I think, is because the Hulk's arc is now. I think it's reached a nice conclusion, and I think
Yeah.
he's ready as a Professor Hulk to be a nice mentor
Yeah.
to a young Amadeus Cho. I think Amadeus Cho is a really good choice now. East Asian, genius level intellect. I think he'd be a great addition to the MCU in terms of where they're going next. And whichever big bad they choose to go up against, be it Doctor Doom or Galactus, whatever. I
Yeah.
think Amadeus Cho, because he's South Korean as well, so it brings that other country from the East Asian bloc into representation. So
I agree.
I want that to happen, big time. And then there's a Black Widow, who is East Asian, I believe.
Really?
I think it's Monica something Fury, so it's like a...
Let's do it.
Let's do that.
Scarlett Johansson's dead. Let's bring a new one who's more interesting.
Continue the Black Widow story. I think it'd be a really good way to...
But maybe do this character arc properly. Don't make them a monster because they lost their uterus. Make them a monster because they're a trained killer. I have many issues with that. We could do a whole video on that.
Yeah, Ultron was not a good... It was a weird switch from Joss Whedon after doing so many good things for the female movement. Buffy, baby. On to South Asian, so X-Men. There's a character called Thunderbird, who I researched just now, and he's actually quite good. So he's just a big sort of like... He joined Storm's X-Force team. It's Extreme X-Force or something, and his character backstory seemed pretty good, but that's the one I could find in the X-Men universe. But the big one for me is, I'm sure you mentioned earlier,
Yeah, Kamala
Khan. In the age of Islamophobia, I think this is so needed at this very point in time, and because, do you know the whole, everyone knows Mo Salah, the effect he's had in Liverpool, he has decreased Islamophobia in Liverpool by a substantial amount.
It really has.
So imagine Kamala Khan, MCU, imagine if there was a Pakistani family represented in the way, that they can do very well.
Yeah.
Imagine the impact on the world,
Yeah,
especially the Western world.
because Muslims are either terrorists or just, oh no, I'm a stereotype.
Mm.
And it's just really annoying because it's like Muslim people exist in many different shapes, many different forms. Like say women who wear the hijab, they're not just meek, mild, shy humans. Like women with hijab are women. They just happen to wear a hijab. So maybe show Kamala Khan, because I remember we used to write for
Does she have a
magazines.
hijab in the comics?
No, she doesn't.
Okay.
But
Sorry,
it's just, I was just still talking about representation. But we used to write in a magazine together. And
I'll bleep it out.
it's an interesting bleep it, yeah. We used to write in a magazine together, and I did an article on Asian representation in comic books, and this is when I learned a lot more about Kamala Khan, and she sort of balances being a young Pakistani girl, going to school, and then trying to fight crime, and it's sort of reminiscent to Spider-Man's issues, and that's one of the reasons why we like Spider-Man so much, because he's like, oh, I need to fight crime. Oh no, oh, Nick's calling me. Oh,
I've got
Nick's
homework,
Nick's.
oh my god.
But Kamala Khan has the same exact like life dynamic, and it'd be nice just to see a positive representation of a young Muslim girl in anything. So Marvel can do this. You have the power.
think that's the most important one I think out of everyone.
Yeah.
Just because of Islamophobia as it is at the moment, that is the way they should go.
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen in a Thor comic a while ago, I think 1990s,
Yeah.
the Hindu gods appeared and
Really?
they fought the Norse gods.
Oh.
And I don't know if I want like a, Norse versus Indian god clash, but I think it'd be pretty cool to see on scene. As a Godzilla fan, seeing massive people have a massive fight, I'm cool, man. Just bring more giants on screen, get ready for Galactus that way. Giants fighting giants, maybe Galactus the big giant, get smaller giants to get his knees, shoulders, get everywhere. All giants get up in everywhere.
They're probably going to do Galactus as well, so you're going to enjoy that.
I'm really going to enjoy that. So maybe the Hindu gods would be a good way to go. Then I thought, the switch now is, there's also a Spider-Man India. They could, if they're doing a multiverse angle, bring in Miles in. Let's bring him in. I think it's called Pavita Prabhakata or something like that. As an Indian, I'd probably butcher the name, which is ironic. But there is a Spider-Man India, and that would be cool. If you're gonna bring Miles in, bring one of my guys in too. Thank you.
Definitely, because
That's 4 whole races covered. 4 whole races in one movie.
Exactly.
Madness.
Yeah, 'cause Spider-Man's whole thing, because this is coming back from my dissertation, is anyone can be under the mask.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a white boy.
Mhm.
So maybe, I think Marvel just needs to go back to the essence of the times when the comic books were created and remember the stories behind them and why they were made. Because I don't know if I should add this piece of information. Basically, in 1955, there was a comics code thing that was made, so comics couldn't be too political.
Mhm.
So X-Men being mutants, Spider-Man having the mask, and even
Metaphors.
it was
they
all
get around
metaphors,
everything.
and it was their loophole to actually talk about really important issues without actually getting the comic books taken off the shelves.
Mhm.
So we are now in an age and time where we can talk about these issues. So let's just
do it.
do what you need to do.
Final question for you, Fats.
Okay.
So we talked about which characters from the current crop could be introduced.
Mhm.
What about characters of the current crop who could be switched in terms of their race? Because we have seen a little bit of that already. Obviously,
Yeah.
Nick Fury. Where else could we do that? I've got one idea,
Okay,
which
go for it.
is. Oh, also sorry. What's his name? They could do a Latino Ghost Rider. Called Robbie Reyes, so I want to add that in quickly. So that'd be a cool thing to introduce, because I think Nicolas Cage had his time as the White Ghost Rider, so I think it's
Nicolas
time
Cage
for...
just had his time in general.
Did you know he once bought an octopus for like $500,000, or like $250,000, because he thought it'd improve his acting?
How would it
Fun
improve his acting?
That man is fucked up. Anyway, the other version of Aquaman in the Marvel Universe, what's his name? I should have wrote this down. Anyway, I'm going to insert it here. This guy, I think that'd be quite a good switch to as an Indian character, because he could look Indian anyway,
Yeah.
as a sense.
If you're in the sun a lot, you need melanin to protect you from it as
Yeah.
well.
So it makes sense on numerous scientific fronts, as well as racial fronts. Yeah. Hang on, I'll look at what his name is. This is
It's gonna bug you.
Yes.
I'm gonna think about who else can be race bended.
So yeah, Namor, he could be a really good one to do for South Asian representation. I think easy switch, maybe even change his origin a little bit, make him from that ocean over yonder in the Indian continent. I think that'd be quite cool.
That'd be cool.
Place him in that ocean there, and that would be a really cool origin story and again representation. But anyone else that you'd want to that is a nice switch, easy switch? I guess anyone's an easy switch.
Anyone's an easy switch. I don't know. I kind of just always wanted Scarlet Witch to be a person of color, just because I really like her as a character, but I just need more. But to be honest, I have issues with her as a character in the Marvel Universe in general, just because they've wasted her potential. But
yeah. Do you remember when she did a fist fight in Infinity War with those Thanos' kids? When she literally has mind powers.
She has the power to literally make. It's in the comics at one point. She
The matter
makes
of
the
the universe.
mutants not mutants anymore. Doesn't she kill them all or get rid of all their powers?
Oh, imagine if she creates the X gene.
Exactly.
Oh,
that would be
that'd
so
be
sick.
wicked, yeah.
But yeah,
That'd be
genuinely, just she has so much power, and I understand they're doing the whole Scarlet Witch doesn't know her powers yet. But like, come on, woman.
Okay, instead, let's move on to our predictions then. So, which
Okay.
characters do we think are going to be in the next phase of the MCU based on what we've discussed so far? So, the first one for me, I think Kamala Khan, because Captain Marvel was a great film. It was great. It was good in terms of the Marvel standards of films.
Oh yeah,
So
you go in, you don't expect a lot, like.
it's just another one churned out of the Marvel conveyor belt of good
Yeah.
quality. But Carol Danvers, what's her name? Who plays her? Brie Larson. Brie Larson was okay.
Yeah.
She was a bit plain Jane for me. There wasn't too much to her. She was funny. It was relatively interesting, but I think having Kamala Khan in the next phase would probably be a good move.
It would
on
be
all
good
fronts, so.
because where they went wrong with Carol Danvers is she's really overpowered,
Mm.
and then in Endgame she barely did anything. So maybe have someone
Yeah.
younger, and you can just explain that their overpoweredness might be just they need to learn and
Mm.
grow, and then you also just insert a brown girl as well.
But I don't think I'd want to watch a Captain Marvel 2 that didn't feature Kamala Khan.
Yeah,
So I
that
don't-
would just be
I
hard.
wouldn't be interested
No.
enough. So
Because
Yeah.
Carol can't carry it on her own as a character
Yeah.
because it was her. I forgot her friend's name.
the Black Friend.
Yes, the black friend. You know how this
Her.
that's where we usually see like in some films. The black friend. Her daughter was really interesting as well.
She was really
So
cool.
I'd like her daughter to feature as a superhero in the future because that would be
That'll
sick.
definitely happen.
Oh, it has to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my prediction.
It's like Tom Holland's the feature in Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, Iron Man 2. Was it Iron Man 2? Yeah, Iron Man 2 when he's a little kid.
Oh yeah.
I think every child in the MCU who's like got some sort of, poignant moment will definitely be a superhero in the future. I reckon Harley from Iron Man 3 will definitely come up again to be a different character of some sort. That's just my theory.
Maybe, but I feel like we all forgot him, so maybe.
I didn't, I loved Harley.
I forget
Got
about him.
Harley.
And then he was in the funeral though. You didn't recognise him there. How much do you love him?
But I'm just so connected to him. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
where we at? That's mine. So I think Kamala Khan's the first big one for me.
Mhm.
For you? Who do you think's the best, the most likely one they're gonna do? You can say Kamala if you want as well. I don't mind. You can steal my shit.
I want Miles. I don't think
Okay.
this isn't really much of a prediction because I genuinely don't think they'll do it in the next phase, or they'll probably do it towards the end of the phase.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But I would like Miles Morales to appear, but I don't think that's a solid prediction.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Fatima does not trust white men, so
Don't.
I trust these white men. These white men have got my hopes up because the Russos, either Joe or the other Rousseau brother appeared in the Endgame film as a gay guy. So Kevin Feige said there's a big plan for diversity. I just trust these men who give me 10 years and 22 films of complete and utter ecstasy. So I've got no reason not to trust them yet.
Okay, my case for not trusting them.
Go
is
on.
They were all like, "We're gonna include more women, right? We're gonna do it. We got it. We got Scarlet Witch, guys. we got Black Widow.
Captain
We
Marvel.
got what? No, wait. Let me.
Go on, you go.
Let me finish. We
I will
got
go.
white women first. Then Black Panther came along. They're like, "Wait, we have black women. Let's make them cool, strong, and feisty." And I was like, "That's not enough, guys. We've had 22 films. I want more across the whole. Even like Mary Jane and Spider-Man. Fair play. Fair play.
Mm.
She a shit character anyway, I'm gonna be honest, like even in the comics, like she just exists to be saved. But the first Spider-Man, what did she do? She just
That's
made
it.
weird comments to Tom Holland. That was literally it. Like she was just like saying weird stuff and I was so excited to see I've forgotten it, Zendaya, that's her name.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see Zendaya and I wanna see more of her because she's really cool.
What we got of her though in the first two films, I think was very good though. She
Yeah.
was, even though her lines were few, she
Yeah.
came across as probably the most interesting kid at that school.
Definitely.
So the foundations have been set.
Yeah, they are doing well because all his all the women that he was sort of romantically interested in as well were all women of colour. So I was like, oh wow, we're seen
And
as
then-
the item of affection. This
and
never
then-
happens.
Far From Home, she
Yeah.
apparently knows Peter's identity based
Oh,
on
yeah.
the trailer. That's going to be a really interesting dynamic moving
Yeah.
forward, and it shows he's super smart as well.
Yeah, but I don't
Super
even think
smart.
it's just super smart. I think they're finally breaking the lens on, like how the Clark Kent idea where he just puts glasses on and it's like, no one knows he's Superman. I think they're now showing how bad these superheroes are at hiding their identities, which is nice.
In fact, Peter, I think, is normally very good at it. It's only because I think if it wasn't for that Washington DC trip, she'd have no idea.
Maybe, I don't know. He suddenly got ripped. And he
No,
doesn't
because
go to him.
it stayed the same size. Oh, it's a wicked scene. I didn't notice this until I noticed this basically when I was watching a video and an old clip from I think it was the first film where he's doing sit-ups with his best mate in the gym and he's doing them really well. And then the gym teacher goes, "Oh, looking good, Parker." And then Peter purposely just starts to show he's in pain. I was like, "Oh, I didn't even notice that when I first watched it." So smart.
Mhm.
Anyway, So no prediction on your part anymore. So I'm gonna do one more and then we'll call it a day. So my other prediction, who shall I go for? Out of my list. I'm gonna exclude all. Oh, hang on, I missed one East Asian I've got to mention. Shang-Chi. So basically, he's Marvel's version of Bruce Lee. So he got complimented by Spider-Man on being the best hand-to-hand combat person that he's fought ever. Because he's basically like a complete, perfect martial artist, like Batman, but just Bruce Lee, just the martial arts, no gadgets, right? And he also beat Wolverine in hand-to-hand combat. I want this guy on screen because I've been watching Bruce Lee films since I was 3 years old. I need this in my life. Anyway, back to the predictions.
Oh, I think
I
I
just
want
choosing.
that.
Oh, go on.
I want Black Cat, but I want her to be anything that's not white. I love Black Cat and Spider-Man. You know, she's his version of Catwoman, and she's actually really strong.
So you want Black Cat
banks.
to be like Black Manta? And just be black.
Even Asian. I genuinely just want her to be a person of colour. Like, I don't care
Fair
what
enough.
race. But genuinely, Black Cat's one of my favourite female characters across all of Marvel. And even whenever she appears in the games, I'm just like, oh.
Do you mean the latest Spider-Man game, the Sony one, PS4?
No, yes, that one. That's
Oh,
one
of course I played
earlier.
that, man.
Yeah,
she was great in that.
No, she wasn't
white.
in that. She was great and amazing.
DLC?
Oh, okay, I don't play DLCs because she actually.
Fake fan over here.
I don't want to pay for it for us to just see her at the end doing nothing.
That's cool.
Black Cat's one of my favorites because she was in that Spider-Man 2 game that came out when we were young.
Oh.
And I was
Intro
like,
Electro. Or the film one.
You know the game, so it has like Mysterio in it as well, and you spend a lot of missions in like
I think I know
circus stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually called just Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
But as we're quite old, we're both like 25, 26.
We have lots of nerdy things to think about.
Yeah, and Black Cat was like a considerable character. Like she engaged with Spider-Man, and I didn't know much about her back then. Then I looked into her and I was like, wow. And I just like to see her on screen and actually be a person of colour, just because she has a dynamic with Spider-Man where she's able to fight him, be intellectual, but also she is inherently neither a good person or a bad person. She's in the middle. I quite like that.
Just like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like a cat.
But a
Black
cat in a tight suit.
Or
Maybe
a different ethnic minority cat. We shall see.
cats are cute of all colours.
Cat Cafe coming soon.
I'm
I'm going to do one more prediction then. I think so. Kamala Khan, Amadeus Cho, they're my two big ones.
Yeah. And Shang-Chi.
I really want Shang-Chi, but I think he'll get a TV show, and I wouldn't mind that at all. Fuck it. Let's go Shang-Chi. No, actually I'm not going to do that because that's unrealistic.
So you want an actual realistic one?
Blade. Because of
Blade?
Morbius, I think Blade is going to come.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Blade. And yeah, anything else, or should we end it there?
No, I think we should end it. I don't think I have any more predictions because I
Okay.
feel like the only one I can think of seeing actually happening is Black Cat. But even then, I still don't trust these white men. And I'm gonna straight up say it, like it's nothing against them. It's just when their version of inclusion is a cop out a lot of the time.
In fairness, history is definitely on your side.
Yeah. Look at let's not talk about these white men. Let's talk about different white men. X-Men Storm. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like how have they done her wrong?
In terms of films?
All the films she has been done. She has
Apocalypse better?
okay better.
Getting better. Halle Berry was atrocious, but
She was
then
awful. They should not have made a Bond girl.
I think they've made a good stride with Apocalypse and moving forward.
They
I've got
were-
hopes. I got high hopes.
Yeah, they've suddenly realised, wait, she can control the weather. That's a very powerful power.
So your prediction is that the white people will not do well. I think the white people will do well. We'll come back in 10 years' time.
10 years time. I want them to do well, okay, but I've just been burned in the past. So
Yeah.
I want them to do well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. That's
Yeah.
my prediction. Don't put words in my mouth.
I will not do that.
I want them to do well.
Okay, until next time, keep your friends rich and your enemies rich, and then you'll find out which is which. That was sick!